His script is embarrassing. Amateur stuff. He thinks he's going to be a real writer.
Jason froze, the words cutting deeper than any critique he'd ever received. She said it to another actor, but loud enough for the entire circle to hear. A few heads turned toward Jason.
She's supposed to be my girlfriend. My partner.
Sharon didn't even glance his way. She laughed with the actor beside her, as if she'd said nothing at all. Jason sat motionless, his screenplay pages suddenly feeling like ash in his hands.
I mean, he's sweet, but come on. This industry is brutal. He's not cut out for it.
Jason's knuckles whitened around the script. He didn't say a word. Hours later, Jason sat alone in their apartment, the silence heavier than any argument.
Was she right? Was I just fooling myself this whole time?
The next evening, Sharon breezed in, glued to her phone, barely registering Jason on the couch.
Sharon, can we talk about what you said at the workshop? It really got to me.
Not now. I've got a call back tomorrow, and Victor wants to rehearse. It's a big break.
Victor. She says his name like it's a lifeline.
He's already produced 2 indie hits. He knows the business. You should learn from him.
I am trying to learn. But your words at the workshop, they weren't just criticism. They were public.
Oh, please. If you can't handle a little honesty, maybe you're not cut out for this after all.
The words landed like a second blow. Jason sank back, the fight draining out of him. Sharon grabbed her bag and left for rehearsal. The door clicked shut, and the silence pressed in.
Maybe she's right. Maybe I am just an amateur with a daydream.
2 weeks of silence and avoided conversations later, Jason received a text to meet at a cafe. He arrived to find Sharon already seated, Victor beside her, a sleek package on the table.
Jason, I am going to be direct. This isn't working. Victor and I have been seeing each other.
Seeing each other? For how long?
Look, kid, you've got no future in this business. Sharon needs someone who can actually help her.
Jason looked at Sharon, searching for the person he'd loved. She wouldn't meet his eyes.
She's not even sorry. She's already gone.
Victor slid a document across the table. An early termination of their lease, already signed by Sharon.
It's cleaner this way. I've moved my things out. You should do the same.
So, this is it. She humiliated me in public, then left me for the producer who was there.
Jason returned to the half-empty apartment and packed a single suitcase without hesitation. He dropped his keys on the counter and walked out, leaving the manuscript in the trash. A week later, he found a mailroom job at a mid-tier media company.
No more writing. From now on, I learned the business from the ground up.
He sorted envelopes, ran errands, and watched the executives with hungry eyes every night. He studied business strategy in a rented room, no larger than a closet.
Each chapter puts distance between me and the humiliation.
He took online courses in finance, contract law, and corporate acquisitions. 6 months later, a junior analyst position opened, and he applied with a borrowed suit. They hired him. The first rung on the ladder was his. 6 years had rewritten every expectation. The boy who fixed computers now owned floors of them. In a boardroom of polished glass, Jason Cole signed the final document that transferred Streamview into Reed Media Holdings.
From mailroom to CEO. She called me an amateur.
15 miles away, Sharon Hayes stood under studio lights, delivering the closing monologue of Nightfall's season finale.
That's a wrap on the best season yet. Streamview, here we come.
The crew applauded. Her agent had already sent over the renewal paperwork.
Her face, framed in my analytics dashboard. The universe has a dark sense of timing.
He scrolled through the upcoming slate. There it was. Nightfall, starring Sharon Hayes. Her photo glowed back at him, unchanged. Same confident smile that had once dismissed his dreams. Jason closed the file. The contract would land on his desks soon enough. The courier arrived at 7 a.m., handing over a sealed envelope marked with the Streamview logo. Jason sliced it open and withdrew the stack of legal documents. the complete renewal package for Nightfall. He laid them across the desk, turning each page with the precision of a man who'd learned to read contracts for traps.
3 million per season. A vanity credit. She parlayed a guest star gig into the lead of the biggest drama on air.
The attached show Bible detailed her character arc, the heart of the hospital, the linchpin of every storyline. He stopped at a clause guaranteeing her screen time in 20 of 22 episodes. Without her, the show would collapse.
Without her, the show collapses. They built it around her entirely.
He closed his eyes. For a moment, the office dissolved, and he was back under those fluorescent lights, her words slicing through the silence.
Amateur. Embarrassing. He thinks he's a real writer.
He opened his eyes. The anger was gone, replaced by something far more dangerous. Patience. In her dressing room, Sharon's phone vibrated. The screen read Agent, urgent.
Tell me the good news.
Her agent answered with a satisfied chuckle. They sent the preliminary docs. Congratulations, you are locked in.
Locked in? I haven't even seen the contract yet. Is the raise included?
Her agent laughed. Trust me, you'll be very happy. Just sign the letter of intent and we'll handle the rest. The courier delivered a sleek folder. Sharon flipped past the standard clauses, her eyes catching the dollar figure.
3 million and an executive producer credit. This is it.
She signed the document, a confident flourish. The trap remained invisible.
Send the champagne. We're celebrating tonight.
The signed forms were couriered back to Reed Media within the hour. Jason's patience had been rewarded. Jason received the signed papers with a cold flicker of satisfaction. The framework was in place. He opened a blank addendum page, the pen resting lightly between his fingers.
The clause needed to be benign, almost invisible. The same way she dismissed him years ago.
He drafted a single additional term. The show's writers' room must accept open submissions from unrepresented writers. The legal phrasing was careful. Open submissions shall be accepted quarterly from writers without agency representation.
Writers without representation. Just like the amateur she once mocked.
He stapled the addendum to the renewal contract and called legal to expedite the filing. The final package, now with the clause, was couriered to Sharon's agent for execution. Jason leaned back. He hadn't rewritten her contract, only added a quiet suggestion that would reshape her show. The ink was dry. The clause would be signed, and the trap would close silently. The final contract envelope landed on Sharon's agent's desk. The addendum flagged with a yellow tab. Sharon thumbed through the pages, pausing at the new clause with mild curiosity.
Open submissions from writers without representation. That's nothing. A PR checkbox. Is this some new diversity initiative from the streaming execs?
Her agent shrugged. Standard boilerplate. They want to look accessible. It won't touch your deal.
As long as the money and my shooting schedule stay untouched, I am happy.
She didn't parse the legal phrasing, the quarterly mandate, the binding integration, with a pen stroke. She sealed the contract that would slowly undo her.
Finally, 3 seasons guaranteed. No one can touch me now.
She poured champagne, the contract's shadow stretching across the desk like a blind spot. The following week, Jason sat across from 2 young writers in a downtown coffee shop. They were raw, unrepresented, and hungry, exactly as he'd once been.
There's an open call at Nightfall. Submit your best spec. The clause guarantees it reaches the room.
One of them stammered, "But we have no agent," Jason replied. "They will now." The submissions were emailed that afternoon. Within a week, the showrunner cited the contract and added them to the staff. 2 unknown names joined the writer's room, sitting at the far end of the table. Sharon passed the writer's room on her way to set, glancing through the glass.
New blood. Probably just an assistant. Nothing to do with my character.
The new writers smiled, their notepads already filled with story ideas Jason had seeded.
The first piece lands. The board is set.
In the writer's room, One of the new hires stood and pitched a multi-episode arc focused on a junior resident. The showrunner leaned back. "And what about Dr. Voss?" he asked. The writer paused. "She could be off-screen for a few episodes. It adds tension if we don't see her." Around the table, a few heads nodded. The showrunner made a note. Sharon received the revised outline. Her character's scenes had been cut from 7 to 3 per episode.
3 scenes? That's half my usual screen time. Something feels wrong. Hey, can someone tell me why my character is barely in this block?
A producer shrugged. Creative refresh. The new writers brought fresh angles.
Fresh angles. Since when does my guaranteed screen time mean optional?
She filed the concern away, but the unease settled in her stomach like a stone. The following afternoon, Sharon walked past the executive offices and heard her name through a cracked door. The Reed Media CEO personally approved the Nightfall renewal. He insisted on the open submission clause.
Reed Media. The signature on my contract. I never looked up the CEO.
She pulled out her phone and typed Jason Cole Reed Media with trembling fingers. The search results loaded. A polished corporate photo stared back. Jet black hair, cold executive smile.
Jason, the same Jason who used to bring me coffee and rewrite pages at midnight.
Her stomach dropped. He owned Streamview. He'd seeded the writer's room with people he trained.
The clause wasn't a gesture. It was the same pitch I mocked. Open submissions for unrepresented writers.
She dialed Reed Media's main line. Her voice shook as she asked for Jason Cole. The receptionist's reply was crisp. "Mr. Cole does not take unsolicited calls. Please go through your agent." The final draft of the next episode slid under her door. On page 1, the character list. Dr. Elena Voss. Not appearing.
He's writing me out of my own show. He's serious.
She threw necessities into a bag. Passport, charger, the signed contract. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking.
Get me his office address. I don't care what it takes. I'm flying to New York tonight.
She hung up before her agent could protest, then booked a red-eye out of LAX.
He can't ignore me if I'm standing in his lobby.
The terminal blurred past her as she found the gate. The departure board flickering New York, New York, New York. The plane lifted off. The grid of Los Angeles shrinking to a web of light beneath her.
What am I going to say to a man I haven't seen in 6 years?
The cabin lights dimmed, but her mind wouldn't quiet. 6 years of silence, and she was flying toward the man she'd thrown away. At 8 a.m., Sharon stepped out of a taxi and stared up at the steel and glass tower of Reed Media. She marched into the lobby, contract folder in hand, heels clicking on marble.
I need to see Jason Cole. Tell him Sharon Hayes is here.
The security guard glanced at a list. "He's not expecting you. No appointment. No entry."
Tell him I am here. He'll see me. I know he will.
The guard made no move to call. From behind her, a second guard stepped forward. 50 floors up, Jason watched on a security monitor. Sharon's face filled the screen, furious and small.
She came all this way. 6 years late.
He leaned back, fingers resting on the intercom. He didn't press it. An hour later, Sharon was still in the lobby. Then 2. Then 3. Finally, she stood, defeated, and walked out into the cold Manhattan morning. Sharon returned to the Nightfall. Set the next morning, the contract still creased in her bag. She stopped near the soundstage. A stand-in was wearing her lab coat, delivering a monologue meant for her.
They're filming without me. My character is vanishing in front of my own eyes. Director, what is this? These are my scenes. Someone tell me why I am not in them.
The director didn't look up from his monitor. "We had to adjust the schedule. You were unavailable. The writers felt the episode worked better without the lead for once."
The writers, Jason's writers. He planted them to dismantle me scene by scene.
She stormed back to her dressing room and grabbed her phone, her agent's number already ringing.
They're cutting my scenes. The contract says 20 out of 22 episodes. Do something.
Her agent's voice was strained. "I've been through the fine print. The open submissions clause lets them hire new writers who can reshape the show. It's ironclad. There's no breach.
I signed it. He gave me everything I wanted, and I handed him the weapon to take it all away.
The next evening, the writer's room convened for the season breakdown. A whiteboard mapped the new arc. 3 episodes without Dr. Elena Voss, her absence written as a medical conference. The room voted. 7 hands rose in favor. The showrunner signed the outline without hesitation. The decision was formalized in a memo. Creative refresh, Dr. Elena Voss to be written out of episodes 4, 7, and 12. The memo was emailed to the cast list. Sharon's phone buzzed on her vanity. She opened the document, scrolling past the boilerplate until the character schedule glared up. Her name was absent from 3 slots. The explanation, creative expandability. She let the phone fall. Tears blurred the screen.
6 years ago, I laughed at his amateur pitch. Now, his amateurs are writing me out.
The dressing room felt smaller, the walls closing in. She had nowhere left to fight. Jason slipped onto the Nightfall set, cap pulled low, moving unseen through the shadows. He crept past idle equipment until he reached the silent hospital wing. Sharon sat alone on the empty set, doctor's coat beside her, face buried in her hands.
This is Victory. She looks exactly how I felt 6 years ago.
The satisfaction he'd expected felt distant, hollow in the silence. Jason stepped back into the shadows, leaving without a sound. He had seen enough. That night, in his Manhattan office, he stared at the schedule, her face absent from 3 episodes. He pressed the intercom and instructed his assistant to send a meeting request to Sharon Hayes for Friday. The assistant confirmed. Jason leaned back, the final move set into motion. He didn't know what he'd say, only that it was time to face her directly. On a Thursday evening, the first episode without Dr. Elena Voss aired. The junior resident carried the storyline, and the audience barely noticed the absence. Social media hummed with praise for the fresh direction. No one tweeted about Sharon's character.
They didn't even notice. 6 years of being the face of this show, and I vanish without a ripple.
She poured another drink, the remote heavy in her hand. 2 more episodes aired. No fan campaigns, no press outrage, just silence.
I was the lead. How did I become expendable so fast?
By the 3rd absent episode, the show's social pages didn't even include her in the cast photos.
Jason didn't just take my screen time, he erased me from the narrative.
She sat in the dark, the credits rolling, realizing the world had already moved on. On Friday morning, Sharon walked into the executive suite, the doors closing behind her with a soft click. Jason Cole sat behind a vast desk, hands folded, his expression unreadable.
Jason, please. I know what I did was wrong, but this? Writing me out of everything?
His script is embarrassing. Amateur stuff. He thinks he's going to be a real writer.
The words fell without anger, a perfect echo of the workshop that had shattered him.
He remembers every word. He's been holding this for 6 years. I am sorry. I was wrong. Please, don't do this to my career.
Your contract guarantees pay, not meaning. The show will continue. It's not personal. It's just business.
Sharon's mouth opened, but no words came. She turned, her footsteps unsteady, and left. Jason remained motionless, the silence in the office now absolute. The revenge was complete. For a long minute, he remained at the desk. Then he stood and crossed to the window. He unlocked his tablet. The next season's staffing grid filled the screen. Dr. Elena Voss, recurring guest. 3 episodes, no guarantee beyond. The contract had been fulfilled. Every condition, every clause, executed perfectly.
I won. Exactly as I planned. So, why doesn't it feel like victory?
The face in the glass looked older, harder. He barely recognized it.
She cried in front of me, and I recited her own words back like a prosecutor.
He set the tablet down. The silence pressed in, Revenge had not repaired the years he lost. It had only proven what he could become. He stood at the window for a long time, the city lights blurring, and felt nothing at all. Sharon Hayes signed a deal for a cable rerun, her name smaller on the call sheet than it had ever been.
I went from lead to guest in under a season. The industry forgot me that fast.
Reed Media acquired 2 more platforms in Q4. Jason signed the documents without ceremony.
Another billion. Another empty floor.
Neither of them spoke the other's name again, but the echo of that workshop never fully faded. She still watched the show sometimes, searching for her own face in the credits. He stopped attending premieres. The cameras never caught him smiling. Her agent stopped calling. His phone buzzed only for acquisitions. The world moved on. So did they. But the cost of that revenge was carved into both of them, invisible, permanent, and entirely unrepaired. Jason walked the Streamview backlot, hands in his pockets, the mid-afternoon sun casting long shadows. He passed a billboard for Nightfall, the new season imagery, a cast photo with Sharon's face crossed out in red tape. He stopped. His reflection wavered on the glossy surface, splitting over the defaced image. For a second, the lot dissolved. The fluorescent lights of the workshop flickered in his periphery.
His script is embarrassing. Amateur stuff. He thinks he's a real writer.
He blinked, and the memory faded back into the scratched billboard. The red tape still covered her smile. He took a long breath and resumed walking, his stride unbroken. The billboard loomed behind him, a monument to everything erased. The screen slowly darkened to black, leaving only a faint reflection of his eyes.
The billboard would be repainted. The silence inside him never would.